All right, looking to move to Corvallis? Today in this video, we're going to explore the different sections of Corvallis and what they have to offer. Hey, I'm Tyler Thomas, the East Realty, and I'm a realtor in the Corvallis area. I grew up in the area in nearby Philomath, so I spent a lot of time in Corvallis. Generally, I'll split up the different sections of town by major roads and landmarks. The overall outline of the different parts of town might be a little bit different than what you might see online or some other videos, but me growing up in the area, as well as many other people I've asked around town, this is what we came up with. The different areas that we're going to cover are northwest, north, northeast, that we're going to go into the Lynn County part of Corvallis. So on the east side of the Willamette, we're going to go into Southtown, which is essentially south, but everyone has called it Southtown. We're going to go southwest, west, as well as central Corvallis. I hope this video today will help you kind of decide on which part of town might best suit you. And if you have any questions, you can go ahead and reach out. My information is in the description below. In the coming future, I'll do a more detailed video on each of these different areas. So let's go ahead and get into it. First, we're going to look at the northern section of Corvallis. And the order I'm going to go in is northwest, north, and then northeast. So first off, here's northwest Corvallis. This is a great area, and it's often one of the most popular in town that people will ask about. One of the most popular neighborhoods in this area is the Timber Hill neighborhood. It's going to be one of the more expensive neighborhoods in town. So on the east side is where you're going to have a lot more of those bigger, more expensive homes. Then on the west side of the Timber Hill neighborhood is where the older section is going to be. So you're going to have a little bit more of affordability there. You're also going to have some good townhome options there, which there isn't a whole lot around town. You're also going to have a great park in the area, as well as the Timber Hill Athletic Club. So if you're looking to do some tennis, do some swimming, or have a really nice gym to do some workouts, it's a great amenity to have nearby. On the north part of the Timber Hill area, you're going to have access to Chip Ross Park, which is a really good trail system, and it's really popular in town, so you can go ahead, park up there, and do some hiking. Another great neighborhood that's really popular in the area is the Witham Hill neighborhood. It's a little more nestled into kind of, we'll say, nature than some of the other areas. There's a lot of deer, especially turkeys. There's turkeys kind of everywhere. I did a driving tour of it, and you will definitely see that in the video. So it's a pretty peaceful area. So even though you're in the kind of still in town limits, it kind of feels like you're more kind of out in the boonies a little bit, because it's pretty shady, really peaceful, and you're going to have a lot of a little bit of nature there. And also nearby here, you're going to have MLK Park, which is a really popular park in town, and there's plans, and hopefully it's still in the works. It's been a little while since I've kind of seen an update, but MLK Park should see another big upgrade coming. And quite a while ago, I did a park tour of Corvallis, so if you're looking to see kind of what parks are nearby, you can go ahead and check out the video, and you can see exactly where these parks are also located to see which area might fit your needs with that as well. Those are one of the newest build sites in town, being Ponderosa Ridge, just north of MLK. So it's really nice to be able to just have a quick walk to MLK Park, as well as all the trail systems that are there. A little bit to the east of Witham Hill is a little bit of a kind of a little sliver of smaller homes. So it's a really good option to be more in this desirable area and still be a little bit smaller home, but more affordable. There's some parts of the northwest section that are going to end up being having some shopping nearby. To the west, kind of near Ponderosa Ridge, MLK, most of Witham, you're going to have a few shopping options, but you're going to have about a mile to the Timber Hill Shopping Center, where you're going to do most of your shopping. So the closest you are to that more east part of the northwest section, or more kind of just the north side, is where you're going to be closer to shopping. Otherwise, you might have a small drive, but it really isn't that bad. As far as schools go, this area is probably kind of the most confusing of town. You're going to have different boundaries kind of overlapping. So you're going to have one section of Timber Hill going to one elementary school, and then a tiny sliver is supposed to also go to another. So you're going to have the Bessie Coleman School, as well as Catherine Jones Harrison, be your elementary schools. You're going to have Sheldon and Linus Pauling, both within the boundary of Northwest, for your middle schools. And then you're also going to have, as the high schools, Crescent Valley and Corvallis High School. So of all the areas of town, this one's definitely kind of the most broken up, depending on where you're at. So like I said, Parts of Timber Hill are going to be split, as well as parts of Witham. It's going to be kind of split up. Most of the parts of town, you're going to have that line be kind of a main road. All right, next up, we're going to go ahead and talk about the north side of Corvallis. So the north side is going to be everything north of Circle Boulevard, and then east of Timber Hill area, and then west of Highway 99. This includes the neighborhood Timber Ridge, just kind of the northeast of the Timber Hill Shopping Center. And then you're also going to have the great neighborhood surrounding the hospital. That's often called Satinwood. And then you're going to have everything around and north of the Osborne Aquatic Center. Like I said earlier, a very large amount of shopping in this area. The north, northwest, kind of even northeast is going to be done in the Timber Hill Shopping Center. You're going to have things like Winco, which is very popular in the area for groceries. You're going to have also a Ross's, a Petco, as well as a Ace Hardware now. You're also going to have some shopping options at a little area kind of by Circle and Kings. So you're going to have I think it's a Harbor Freight there now, as well as some other stores. When you're heading further north, down Highland Drive towards Crescent Valley High School, you're going to be heading into the Lewisburg area. And out in this Lewisburg area, you're going to be finding a lot of homes that have just a lot more property. So if you're looking for a home with a larger lot, a little more secluded, but still in town, this Lewisburg area in the north section is probably for you. And also out in this area, you're going to have a lot of hiking opportunities. You're going to have one of my favorite places to be is Lewisburg Saddle. So not too far away, you can go there, ride your bike, go on a run. It's just a really good option. A little more on the southeast section of the north side, you're going to be meeting where the 9th Street is, and that's where most of the city is going to have shopping for like fast food. It's also going to be one of the easiest ways for you to get around town. So more towards that southeast side, that's where you're going to be getting around town the quickest. In your schools, this area is going to funnel into is the Letitia Carson Elementary School. You're going to have Sheldon Middle School, and then Crescent Valley High School. Now we're going to talk about the northeast section of Corvallis. So northeast is really going to be everything kind of east of Highway 99, as well as kind of the northeast of what the downtown area is. In this area, there's a little bit of everything as far as what kind of residences there are. You've got a mobile home park, you're going to have duplexes, townhomes, a little bit newer homes, as well as also some newer apartments. Really popular thing in this part of town is the Jackson Fraser wetland. It's a really cool wetland. It's got a raised kind of boardwalk, so you can go on a walk during the winter. It'll be pretty dry during the summer, but once winter comes, it's going to be full of water, so it's kind of cool to go look at. Main park in the area is going to be the Village Green Park. So you're going to have it's a really big area. You got some baseball fields, you got a great park, and then you're going to have some different walking trails that'll get you to the different neighborhoods as well nearby. As you go a little bit further east past Village Green, you're going to be heading into some properties that have more land. So once you get towards Highway 20, you're going to have different options out there, mostly to that north section of it, where you're going to have different roads that kind of split off, and you're going to have properties out there that just have a little more bit of land, a couple have acreage. It's just a little bit more secluded, a little more quiet. This also can extend out to where Davis Family Farm is, so they've got really cool activities for Halloween that my family always goes to. This area is also home to HP. You've got the Pepsi factory there as well. You're also going to have the putt-putt course and par 3 course as well for activities. The Melon Shack in the area is also really popular during Halloween time. They've got a great corn maze as well as pumpkins to pick. There's also in this area the blueberry meadows. So if you like picking blueberries, you can go there, pick some blueberries. They got a lot of different options, and that can be really fun because you can leave with quite a bit. For the most part, surrounding the Village Green area as well as right near Sheldon, you're going to have a lot more single-story homes. This will also be one of the more kind of affordable areas. You're going to see a lot of homes that are a little bit smaller. So single story, a little bit smaller. It is a pretty quiet part of town, so it's pretty popular. The elementary schools for this area is going to be Mountain View Elementary and Letitia Carson, depending on where you are. You're going to have Sheldon Middle School and Crescent Valley High School. Now we're going to talk about the more southern areas of town. And first up is the southwest section of Corvallis. So south of the Philomath-Corvallis Highway, as well as west of Avery Park, is what we consider to be the southwest section of town. You're going to have the country club area, so it's going to be surrounding the golf course. You're also going to have the Brooklyn Drive, and there's also some newer building going on the backside of that. So if you're looking for some new builds and they actually look really nice, that'll be an area for you as well. On the south side by Brook Lane, you're going to have the Marys River Natural Area. So you can go there nice and quiet. You can go on a nice walk. They've got a pretty good little trail system. Kind of by the Safeway area, you've also had a good amount of newer homes that have also recently gone in. Russell Gardens, as well as the Ridgecrest neighborhoods, are just to the west of Safeway. There are some newer builds, and they are also pretty popular. They're just good looking homes. In the southwest area, most of your shopping is going to be done really near Safeway, and you've got a lot of different options in there. So you got Safeway, next to it is a Buy Mart. You also got now a Starbucks that went in, got Burger King. Also newer in there is a Taco Bell, which everyone was very excited about. Also are things like Sky Blue, Imagine Coffee. You're also going to have Mexico Lindo and the Dollar Tree. As far as some popular parks, you're going to have Sunset Park as well as Starker Arts Park in the area. Sunset Park has a really good playground there that's really popular. Parts of it were actually last year redone, and it's really nice now. You've also got some really nice softball, baseball fields. You've also got a really cool natural area. It's a part where it's pretty marshy, so you're going to have a raised walkway there that's really popular. I'll end up walking it quite a bit during the winter. It'll flood a little bit, but it's really cool to walk around most times of the year. You'll see a lot of wildlife. Essentially next door, you got Starker Arts Park. They've got a cool little playground. They got a really good covered shelter there, as well as a finally redone pond. So for the longest time, the pond was in kind of rough shape. It went through. It's been like completely redone, and it just looks awesome. Pretty popular spot to go ahead, go there, feed the ducks, read a book. It's a pretty good quiet area. And also right there is the Denali Creek Community Garden. There's also another neighborhood that in the last little bit went in just down the road south of Safeway. And there's pretty much just farmland out that area. So I kind of expect more than likely down the road more building to happen. So I see southwest part of Corvallis definitely growing in the future. As far as schools go in this area, you're going to be going into the Adams Elementary, Linus Pauling Middle School, and Corvallis High School. Next up, we're going to be talking about the south part of Corvallis, otherwise known as by everyone here, Southtown. Southtown is for the most part going to be residential housing. There's also some apartments. Most of your shopping is going to be done in the rest of Corvallis. As far as some things to shop for food, you're going to have things like Papa's Pizza, Bazaar International Market, as well as First Alternative Co-op. You're also going to have things like Burrito Heaven, Beer 30. So for the most part, you're going to have a lot more of smaller mom and pop shops from town. And not really big stores from national chains. And Southtown has been, well, lacking in the amount of businesses that it has, but it has been growing. Like I said, most of your shopping is going to be done throughout the rest of Corvallis. Fort Spirits Distillery as well as Block 15 Brewery are two of the biggest draws for people to come visit Southtown. They're actually really good. You can go ahead, sit outside, and you'll get actually a really good view to the west. The Corvallis Sports Park is also in Southtown, so you're going to have some indoor soccer there. And you're also going to have a restaurant in there, so the Upper Deck Pub. Clear to the very south of the Southtown area is the Willamette Landing neighborhood. It's definitely one of the most popular neighborhoods in town, and it actually has probably some of the biggest homes for the entire of Southtown. It's also got a really good park in Riverbend Park. Also, just to the east of this is going to be the Willamette Park. I've actually done now a driving tour of this neighborhood, so you can go ahead and check that out. Willamette Park's got a really popular disc golf course. It's got a great playground area, as well as a really nice covered place for eating. And just north of this, you've got the Crystal Lake Sports Fields. You got different fields there for things like baseball, softball, you've got soccer, as well as a lot of trails. Also in the parking lot, you've got a boat launch, where a lot of people will launch their boat, also put into the Willamette by doing kayak or rafting. Historically, Southtown has definitely been more of the affordable side of town. Definitely always felt that it's a lot more kind of that low 1,000 to mid 1,000 square foot range. When I was living in Southtown, that's basically what I saw. Where I was at, we had some duplexes, and then pretty much all surrounding us was single family homes that were all pretty much right at 1,000 square feet. The schools that this area feeds into is Lincoln Elementary School, Linus Pauling Middle School, and Corvallis High School. Lincoln Elementary has been recently redone completely, and it looks really nice now. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about the west side of Corvallis. The west side, we're going to say, is everything west of Southwest 35th Street, as well as Circle Boulevard. And this is an interesting part of town. There's not actually a whole lot of neighborhoods in this part of town. Most of it is going to be bigger fields and forested areas. A lot of homes are going to be right along the Corvallis Highway as well as Reservoir Road. You're also going to have a really good option for homes along Oak Creek Drive, which is just north of the fairgrounds. It doesn't actually come up a whole lot. Honestly, I don't know why, because it's awesome, but it does sprawl out quite a bit, and the homes out there typically have more land. And truly, this area does get access to some of the best hiking and biking trails in town. It's been one of my favorite parts of town, and I've always really loved it out there. A popular neighborhood in the area is the Grand Oaks neighborhood. The homes have smaller lots, but people really love living in this area. You get easy access to Bald Hill. You have a clubhouse with a pool, as well as you're not too far away from shopping. It's also surrounded by fields to the east, so you really are in a pretty quiet area. So you kind of have your neighborhood, Bald Hill to the north, and then dang near surrounding you is fields. I did a driving tour of this area not long ago, so you can go ahead and check out the neighborhood as well. There's also the sections of the West Hills neighborhood. Sitting just north of Plymouth Boulevard, you're going to have homes kind of between the 50s and 2000s. But then you're also going to have a little section in there that's got some pretty new homes as well. The part that's just east of Grand Oaks has the easiest access to 53rd Street. That kind of is the main road that takes you on the western part of town. And the good part about that area also is that you are right near Grand Oaks and everything that it has. There's a lot of people that will live in that area and go on a nice little walking trip. It's got a lot of trees, pretty shady, and it's just a good area. Now, as far as shopping goes, I mean, there really isn't any. You're going to be doing your shopping on the southwest section, so that Safeway area that we talked about earlier. I mean, pretty much the only shopping you're going to have in this whole area is a mini mart by the fairgrounds. As far as schools go, you're going to have 2 elementary schools this area feeds into. You're going to have Adams Elementary, Catherine Jones Harris Elementary, and then you're going to have your middle school being Linus Pauling, and your high school being Corvallis High School. Now we're going to talk about the central part of town. And this is going to end up being the largest section of town. As I said in the beginning, I really wanted to avoid trying to just put Corvallis into a few different parts. I wanted to break it up into little smaller chunks. So this central area is going to be just one of the bigger ones that is just that central part of town. And one thing also is with OSU being in town, that also just takes up a ton of space. Central includes the downtown area, so it's going to have a large amount of shopping options. And everyone that chooses to live in the central part will have a lot more options for shopping than anyone else. The downtown area is mostly going to be commercial shops and businesses. Now, zoning on the northern part is kind of interesting. You're going to have some older homes that have now been turned into businesses, but you're also going to have a fair amount of homes that are still homes. And a big draw for this particular area is your close proximity to downtown. You've got the restaurants, the shops, the theater, so all these things that are popular, and that price is also going to kind of reflect that. We're also close to OSU, so that's another thing that can make this area also be a little bit spendy. From also 7th to 13th Street is on the southwest side of the downtown area is where you're going to see more homes as well. And for the most part, these ones are also built in the early 1900s. And the setup for transportation in this area is pretty good. It can be a little bit snug, but it honestly isn't all that bad. Unlike most of town, it is pretty good for biking. These streets are pretty well marked, so you can get around town pretty easy with biking. And the schools for this area are Garfield Elementary, Linus Pauling Middle School, and Corvallis High School. The other areas on the outer perimeters are just more of those newer homes, say in the last 30 years. A lot of the shopping hasn't exactly gone out those directions. So this central area is just where most of your shopping is going to be. Also going to have kind of more near campus, Fred Meyer, which is really popular. And you're going to have a fair amount of little stores also surrounding that. And with that area, it is kind of 2 different worlds depending on if it is summer or if it is when school's in session. One of the main areas as far as most shopping in town goes is 9th Street. So your biggest selection of most restaurants as well as shopping for things like clothes and just kind of anything else will be along this. You got things like Trader Joe's, you've got Market of Choice, By Mart, as well as things like Michael's. Like I said earlier, most of your fast food choices are also going to be in this area. Corvallis High School and Linus Pauling Middle School are also in this section, so everything south of that northern border will be going to these 2 schools. Garfield Elementary, as well as Catherine Jones Harrison, shout out KJH, will also be feeding into this. Many of the homes, aside from Southtown, that people will kind of deem as more being affordable are going to be in this central section. A fair amount of these homes are going to be in that mid-1900s range. There's also later 1900s. You're also going to have the College Hill neighborhood for your historic homes. A lot of the student body will live in the central area just for its ease of getting to and from OSU. It's got really good bike access, so people really like that. There's a ton of parks in this area. Kind of feels like every little neighborhood in this section has its own little park, so that's really nice. The way Corvallis is laid out makes it pretty easy. If you're going by bike, if you find a nice quiet road, you can typically get to where you're going pretty quick. In some areas, predominantly near OSU, you're going to have more things like duplexes, and the further you get away is where you're going to get more homes. You're also going to have a lot more apartments when you get closer to OSU. And also, just the closer you get to OSU, the older these homes are going to be. And that kind of goes also for Corvallis High School. Just south of there, you're going to have some older homes. So surrounding OSU, as well as going from OSU to CHS, that's where you're going to be looking to look for some more older homes if that is what you're going for. Now we're going to talk about the eastern section of Corvallis. So over the river, but not through the woods, is where the eastern section of Corvallis is. Now everywhere else within Corvallis is Benton County. This is the one part, like I said, over the bridge, that is going to be Lynn County. Some might not include this as being actually East Corvallis, but to me, it just makes sense that then be putting downtown Corvallis as East Corvallis, which, to me and many others, it's just not. And on this side, you've got a really great golf course, and being Tristan Tree Golf Course. It's located right along the Willamette. It's a really great course, and I played it a ton growing up. Your main road in this area is Highway 34, and it will eventually connect you towards I-5. You can easily reach Albany and Salem to the north, and then Eugene to the south. If you're going 34 and you keep going straight, you'll eventually also reach Lebanon. Peoria Road is a road that takes you off 34, and it is a really popular area for homes. You're going to have quite a bit of property out there, so you're going to have a lot more acreage. People have a lot of hobby farms out there, and there's also some really large farms out there. So if you're looking for something outside of town with some really large acreage, Peoria Road, heading out that direction is going to be probably where you're looking. A little further down Highway 34 is where you're going to have mostly just kind of like dead-end roads. You're going to have some homes out there. East Terra on the right side, if you're heading down 34, is a popular neighborhood out there. Homes out there are going to have some larger lots. They're also going to be built in the 60s and 70s predominantly. And even though it is close to the highway, it is rather tucked away, so it's pretty quiet. A few years ago, the east side of Corvallis actually had a pretty bad flood. It was pretty unexpected, but there was a lot of water that went through there. So that's something also to think about. Now, it really doesn't happen all that often. I really don't remember, even me growing up in the area, that exactly happening. Now in this area, there really is not that much shopping. There was a gas station, I think it's a 76, that was recently redone. Really, like, the one place you actually have is Two Town Cider House. It's actually really awesome. It has great cider, and it has definitely gotten a lot of respect over the years. The schools this area goes to are Garfield Elementary, Linus Pauling Middle School, and Corvallis High School. And that's it. That is the different sections of Corvallis. I hope the way I split everything up makes sense to you. People don't always agree on what the different sides of town are, but based on my experiences of growing up nearby and talking to a lot of people in town, this is what we really came up with. I'm going to format my future videos in this way, so when I'm talking about a certain part of town, this right here is what we'll use. Corvallis really does have a lot to offer, and each of these different areas of town has something special. There really is something for everybody. Whether you want a nice, quiet neighborhood, whether you're looking for an older home or a really large home, there's something out there for you. So if you're thinking about moving to Corvallis and you want more information on the different parts of town, where the parks are, more information about schools or anything, you can go ahead and reach me. My information is in the description below. Again, I'm Tyler Thomas with E3 Realty. I'm a realtor in the Willamette Valley. So if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest from Salem to Eugene or anything in between, I've got to be a local resource for our real estate needs.